We are live, episode 32 of the Recap Room. Welcome back. We're here for another day. Today is September 8th. Not a very special day, but every day is a special day because I woke up, I put my shoes on, and my feet touched the ground. So every day is a special day. I'm grateful and happy to be here back in our headquarters here in beautiful Chicago, Illinois. I love the fall weather. I know this is not really on topic, but this fall weather is my absolute favorite. If you're somebody who is like me, you always run hot, you're always sweating, you're always just feeling like a little sticky. And this summer, especially in Chicago, was extremely sticky. I wouldn't say it was particularly hot, but it was very humid, and I hate that. So now that we're getting this cool breeze in, it smells like football. Bears actually, I take that back, today is a very special day because it's the Bears. I don't even know if it's their home opener or their first game, but I think it's their home opener. So got it both, Pat. Thank you for that. It's very, so it is a very special day here in Chicago, but enough of that. Today, what I want to talk about is the difference between a capital B buyer and a lowercase b buyer. We have a little bit of a running, I don't want to say a joke, but a little bit of like an internal dialect that we speak here in the recap group. Some things that we fire off in the text that only between Gordy, me, and Mike, and Mike Will, who is now out in college finishing his senior year, understand. But there's a difference between the uppercase B buyer and the lowercase b buyer. And for most people, if you see that on a text coming in, there really isn't any difference. You just see the word buyer. But there is a tremendous difference between the two when discussing in the recap group chat. There's an old saying in real estate brokerage world that buyers are liars. I don't know where that originated from. I don't know who started that. But I think the term originates from, this is just my guess, is that, buyers are known to be, if somebody wants to, sellers are always a little, like if somebody approaches you to sell their home, they're kind of ready to sell their home. You don't really like kind of bring that conversation up or start discussing that unless you're really like, okay, something's changed in my life, something needs to happen, I need to sell this place. But people love to talk about buying real estate, or talk about buying real estate. I don't know if you've ever been to any party, if you've ever been out, if you don't live under a rock and you've ever been out in any social event or social gathering, one of the very common talking points is friends, family, travel, and real estate, and buying real estate. People love to talk about buying real estate. It's just a fun thing to talk about. I love it because it's my job, and other people love it because there's things like Selling Sunset and House Hunters, and it's just a fun thing to talk about. But what that does attract is a lot of people. In my 25 years on earth, what I've found is that a lot of people love to talk and not a lot of people love to do. So that's where I think the term buyers are liars come from, because a lot of people love to talk about buying real estate. Those are the lowercase b buyers. But the ones who actually go and buy real estate are uppercase B buyers. And so I think it's important, and it's always been important when I talk to Gordy and Mike, about delineating between the two and understanding that there's going to be a lot of people, especially when you're a newer agent, that are going to want to talk to you about buying real estate. And it's your job as the agent to filter through the people who are your lowercase b buyers, the not serious ones, the ones who are, oh yeah, I want to buy real estate, I want to buy a house, I want to buy this, that, and the other, and they're doing it because it sounds cool. And they want to impress the young lady at the bar, and they want to impress whoever it is, or for whatever reason they're doing it, or the uppercase B buyers. Those are the serious ones. Those are the people who are ready to make decisive action, who don't complain about the market, who are ready for whatever the market throws at them, and are ultimately decided that this is something that they want to do, see the benefit in it, and are ready to go. So, what are some of the key characteristics between the lowercase b buyer and the uppercase b buyer? Well, the lowercase b buyer is, I think, the number one thing that I always tell when somebody is a lowercase b buyer versus a uppercase b buyer is that they don't want to do any sort of initial consultation. With every single one of our clients, whether it is a buyer, a seller, whatever, we make sure to do an upfront hour-long consultation with them. And that is not to waste their time. Trust me, our time is valuable too. There's a lot of things I could do with that hour. But what it does is we put in all the work up front to lay the groundwork so the rest of the transaction is smooth. Especially for these first timers, if you've never done it before, it may run longer than an hour and a half. And the reason we do this is because we need to familiarize yourself. You need to familiarize yourself with the process before you just jump in. You're not just going to go off the deep end without floaties if you've never swam before. This is kind of the same philosophy. Lowercase b buyers, the second you bring that up, I don't know. Well, maybe just get me on a search. Just let me see what's out there. They love saying that. Let me just see what's out there. Let me get an idea of what my money can get me. Okay, well, let's sit down. Let's talk with a mortgage lender. Yeah, just get me on a search. Send me some listings. It's always the most vague thing, too. Send me some listings. You don't know where they're looking. You don't know what they're looking for. You don't know what their budget is. If somebody's not willing to take an hour of their time to sit down with you and go through a consultation call, since it's a part of your process, I don't care what their budget is. They're not an uppercase B buyer. They're a lowercase b buyer. They're going to waste your time. They're not serious. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't give them any time, but what you should do is it's a relationship. It's reciprocal. You should say, hey, listen, you're a professional. I'm a professional. This is what my process looks like. And if you're not willing to adhere to my process, then it may be better that you find somebody else to work with. You don't have to get personal about it. You don't have to be, you're a fake buyer, you're never going to buy. There's no point in that. We have a lot of people that are serious, that are looking to utilize our services and are willing to follow the steps that we have laid out for all of our clients. And the reason we do it isn't to waste anybody's time, but it's because we know it works. Right? We've helped countless of people that have rented in Chicago, transitioned to home buying or investing in Chicago or in Chicagoland. And the reason we do this is because we know it works. So it may seem like a waste of time, but if you don't have an hour in your day to do that, you're probably not a serious buyer. So that's number one. Usually that alone, you'll be able to weed out most people. And a lot of rookie agents don't do any consultation calls, and I was guilty of this when I first started because you get very excited. You're like, oh my God, somebody wants to buy. Somebody wants to use me. Oh my gosh. It's like the first time you're young and you have an attractive woman that's talking to you. You're like, oh my God, what do I do? Let me get her number. Let me ask her out. Let me do this. And you're spamming it. What does that do? That scares them away because it's like, what's wrong with this guy? He's never done a transaction before. He's never talked to a girl before. Scares them away. Same thing goes with this, right? So that's always usually the first way that you can weed out most of the lowercase b buyers, and it gets rid of most of the unserious buyers in the market. Number two, I've found, is that they don't want to listen to any of your advice. This is especially prevalent, I think, when you are younger, when you're a younger agent. Granted, I'm 25, but I've been in the business 5 years, so I wouldn't say I'm a rookie agent at this point. I've definitely got some reps in. But if a buyer is constantly going to be second guessing, or I don't want to say I have to toe the line, because I always want my buyers to feel super comfortable and I want them to ask questions. That's not what I'm saying. But it's the buyers that are like, well, even if you told me this is what we should be doing, every single time you tell them that, they go and do something different, right? So they don't want to use your inspector. They don't want to use your lender. They don't want to use your attorney. This is another big thing. They get their parents involved, and the parents, usually it's not always the clients, especially when you're young. It's a lot of times the parents of the clients that think they know better. And usually that's a recipe for disaster. Doesn't always mean they're a lowercase b buyer, but it usually does scream that it's probably going to end up being a complete disaster of a transaction. The reason I say this is because when you are coming to work with a professional in any profession, right? A doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a real estate broker, whatever it is, you're hiring them under the pretense that they know what they're doing, and that relationships always are built on trust. And so whether it's a personal or professional relationship, when you have that trust, you don't just go in blindly, but you ultimately know that if somebody's telling you something in that relationship, that they have your best interest at heart, and they're doing it because they maybe know something that you don't, right? A lot of these people, it's their first time buying. It's their first time going through this process. We help people every single day do this. Hundreds of transactions over these course of these 5 years that I've picked up on a few things. I'm not as dumb as I look. And I think what happens is especially when you're young and these people mistake being young as lack of experience, even though I have much more experience than a lot of agents that are far older and have more years of experience than me. They think that comes in and he may not know what he's doing, so now I have to, whatever he says, I have to go against it. Whatever he says, I have to do something different because they talk to their parents a lot of times, and I love parents, love my parents. My parents are the best, but times change, things evolve, not everything stays the same, and ultimately, if you're gonna listen to your parents about buying a house in 2025 or 2026, and your parent hasn't bought a house since 1998, whereas me, I'm helping people buy and sell real estate every single day for the last 5 years of my life, I'm not sure that just because they're older means you should be listening to them. That's just my 2 cents. Maybe take their opinions into account, maybe hear them out, but at the end of the day, you need to have a relationship with your real estate broker that you trust them, and that if they say something, you're going to follow through with what they say because you know they have your best interest at heart. And then if they violate that trust or they don't have your best interest at heart, then you have to fire them. It's that simple. Relationships aren't on a 3-strike policy. It's kind of like you have your expectations. They're all laid out at the start. And if somebody in the side of the relationship is not living up and living up to that expectation, then you have to part ways. So I'd much rather with my clients set the expectation. This is what I expect. This is what you can expect from me. And if we're not living up to that, then you have to go. You have to go your own way. I don't take it personal. There's a lot of brokers out there that are more than willing to take your business, but I have a way of doing things that I know works, that I know will alleviate stress and pressure from you, but you have to be willing to follow it, and you have to be willing to do as I say, and not just because I tell you to do it. I'll explain why. But you need to have that faith and that trust in me. And if there's going to constantly be second guessing and getting other people involved, and my friend who's a real estate broker selling office space in Miami told me that the real estate market's going to collapse and it's been so slow for him or whatever, that's just not a conducive environment for a quality relationship, and probably best that we figure out a way to either get around that or just part ways. And I don't take offense to it at all. I want to have a good working relationship, and I want my clients to feel comfortable that I have their best interest at heart at all times. And then I think that those are kind of like the main, that usually between all those things, you can kind of tell if they're not a serious buyer or, as we call them, a lowercase b buyer or an uppercase b buyer. A lot of people love, and just going back to what I was saying earlier, in life, people love to talk about doing things, but most people don't do those things. And real estate is a very large transaction. It's a very large purchase. For many people, it's the biggest purchase they're going to make in their entire life. And people love to talk about how much money they have, all the money they're going to spend, all the things they do. Everybody's trying to, it's like an ego game. And so you have to sniff that out and understand that you're dealing with an asset class that is very attractive for a lot of reasons. 1, it's expensive. 2, it's pretty to look at. 3, there's a lot of emotions invested in it. So you're dealing with a very, and 4, it's a necessity. Housing is a necessity. Whether you rent or buy, you have to live somewhere. You need to have a roof over your head. Shelter is a necessity. So when you understand that, you understand that if everybody needs shelter, that doesn't mean that 100% of people are your clients, right? Our buyer pool is a small percentage of people that are willing to listen to us, that are in Chicago, that are willing to adhere to our, call it the REKAP blueprint of how we do things. And the reason they adhere to it is because they know we follow through and we execute. They know that we can get the job done, and they hire us to do that job, and we do it to the best of our abilities every single time. There's a lot of people who don't want a broker like that. They want a broker that they can run around. They want a broker that they can just take their time and look at properties with no intention of actually buying. And the thing is a lot of people, a lot of younger brokers or rookie brokers will get mad at the client because they're wasting their time. But at the end of the day, every time you point your finger, there's 4 fingers pointed right back at you. And you have to say, listen, maybe it's their fault that they're running me around, but it's my fault for allowing it to happen. It's my fault that I didn't weed that out earlier. It's my fault that I wasn't able to pick up on the signs that they were a lowercase b buyer and not an uppercase b buyer. And so, that you can only place the blame on others so much before you have to flip it back on yourself and say, what can I do better as the professional, as the real estate broker, to make sure this doesn't happen again, and make sure that I'm able, because really what ends up happening is it dilutes your service down, because now you have the reputation of being the guy that runs around, the guy or gal that runs around, that takes people anywhere, that's just a door opener, instead of being the professional, the consultant, I was looking for that word, being the advisor in the relationship instead of just being a door opener. And it also takes away the time from your clients who are actually interested and are going to move forward with a transaction and do need your professional guidance. And you're taking time away from them and giving it to people who maybe aren't as serious and don't deserve that time. Not everybody deserves your time. Time is the most valuable asset that we all have, because we can't get more of it. No matter what, you can't get more time. You can always get more money. You can always, buy more things, but you can never get more time. So understanding that is a really key component in things that I've taught Gordy and Mike. And the reason why I've decided to bring it up today is because as you enter into this fall market, into the winter as well, everybody starts getting the wheels turning about the next year. This is when we get the most, not the most transaction volume, but we get the most wheels turning in people's heads that are starting to think about buying in the upcoming year. They've been in their lease 6 months. They're like, well, maybe I'm not going to lease again. This may be the time. Maybe they've got a fiance. Maybe they just want to buy something for themselves. They're getting to that point in their life where it makes more sense to buy. It's our job now, when we have those conversations, to be able to weed out the lowercase b buyers from the uppercase b buyers. So it's not to scare you. Some people are made to just be forever renters, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we'll help you along that process, regardless of what who you are. Just know who you are. Know if you're an uppercase b buyer or a lowercase b buyer. If you're a lowercase b buyer and have the aspirations of being an uppercase b buyer, we love those people. We want to help you along that way and help you get to that point so you're very confident in the decisions that you're making. And that's really our goal. That's our MO. We're just trying to help people and help the most people that are willing to take our professional guidance as possible. So if that's you, you know where to find us. It's very easy to find Gordy, Mike, and I. We're all over social media, probably a little bit too much. And if not, you can send us a DM. You could shoot me a text. You can send me an email, mkaplan@rekapgroup.com, and we'd be happy to help. So as always, if you've made it this far, we love ya. Thank you for listening. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your week.